Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're coming at you with another commonly asked questions about seasonal work, except this time it's pretty much very specific to Yellowstone. So something to consider if you are watching this video and you are not considering working in Yellowstone. There will be some questions for you, but not all of them. I feel like I'm on the big comfy couch. So lately I've been getting a ton of questions in the comments of my other videos as well as direct messages on Instagram about working in Yellowstone. In an effort to consolidate these and put them all in one place, I want to come to you guys today with a video answering some of your questions. That way, maybe if these are some questions you have and either you just don't feel like asking them or you're too shy to ask them, then I can answer them for you. So a lot of people are traveling to Yellowstone from other places in the country, and I've had a couple people message me and ask what they should stop and see on their way to Yellowstone. Now, in my experience, I come from the East Coast, so I can tell you the route of things you should see from East Coast or like Southeast to Yellowstone, but when it comes to the West, I have not a clue what is going on over there. So what I would say you need to see is the Badlands, Mount Rushmore, because you're probably gonna pass it anyways, and honestly don't pay for admission because it looks the exact same from the road. And then there's also a place you should stop at called Wall Drug, and if you're driving to Yellowstone from the East Coast and you end up on a highway, you are going to see a bazillion billboards for Wall Drug, and it's just a good thing to stop in for just so you can say you did, and it's actually pretty cool. Do I need to bring my own sheets and pillows? And the answer to this is yes. From what I remember, everyone brought their own sheets and pillows. If you're not in management or you're not coming with like a significant other, you're gonna have a twin size bed, and I brought twin size sheets and a comforter. I believe they do maybe provide you with like a blanket, but I can't remember correctly. So I would not take my word for that one, but just bring your own sheets and pillows just to be sure. You know, it's nice to sleep in your own stuff too, like not something someone else has been drooling on for many nights beforehand. Does Xanterra let you choose what part of the park you work in? When I applied, I did not get that option. Generally when you apply, they'll make you an offer based on like a specific location in the park. For example, if they're offering you like a line cook in Canyon Village or a room attendant in Old Faithful. So generally they specify where you are getting your like job application to. At certain times you can ask to be placed somewhere else. Basically it could be just as simple as emailing them because chances are they have openings elsewhere as well. How hard is it to make phone calls? If you have your cell phone and you have like Verizon, it's very easy to make phone calls. If you have a different service, sometimes you'll have spots in the park where you have no service at all. But if you really want to make a phone call and you can't figure out how to, worst comes to worst, they do have employee phones that you can use, and it's basically like a payphone if any of us have ever actually used a payphone, which I have never. But if you know how to use it and you have change, you can feel free to call people from there. They also have phones for that reason because of like international people that can't make phone calls home. What does Xanterra look for in a resume? So when I put my resume into Xanterra, it was just a basic resume I had made my senior year of high school because it was like a project we had to work on where we had to make like the real world resume. Basically what it was like my objective, and it was somewhere along the lines of like working for Xanterra to contribute to the success of like the 2015 National Park season or something along those lines. And then I had my like past history, like other jobs I had worked, whether it was like in retail or I had worked in the food industry at one point. And then below that, I believe I had maybe some references. And then I also had like if I was in any academic fraternities, like if you were in, I don't know, like Pi Kappa Phi, I think that's a college one. What is it called? What are the academic fraternities in high school called? You can tell it's been a while, but Beta Club. Beta Club and like the National Honor Society, I at least listed that just because I don't know, it felt like it was gonna go good on my resume. You don't have to worry about a cover letter or anything like that. I don't really think Xanterra is looking for a cover letter unless you're applying for like an upper management position, then go all out with your resume, like do your thing. But if you're just applying for like being a room attendant or working in the food and beverage portion, just like as like a server's assistant or a server or a cook in the kitchen, anything like that, I just, you know, stick with the basics. You should be good. You can also look up resources online on how to create like the proper resume. I will link some below that are just like, you know, like basic resume things that you don't have to like buy a template for or anything along those lines, just to make it easier for you guys to figure out what you're doing. What's the best part of the park to work in? Canyon Village is my opinion. But I also really enjoyed working in Mammoth Hot Springs. So wherever you decide to work, you're gonna have a blast. Even if you end up in like Grant Village, which like to me, I don't think I went to Grant Village but twice, and that was to eat in this like really beautiful restaurant they have on the water. And I didn't even know anybody who worked in Grant Village, but like from the comments down below, the Grant Village people, they stand for Grant Village. So wherever you end up working in the park, you're gonna love it. I don't really think there's a best if you're asking like the normal person, but for me, I loved Canyon Village so much, I'll always tell you it's the best. It is really deep into the park though, which is one downside. But no matter where you end up working, you're gonna have a blast. You're gonna make a lot of friends, and you're probably gonna do some crazy stuff. What are specific amenities of living in each part of the park? This kind of goes with the last question. So I wrote some things down. I'm gonna read off of it because why not? So basically, if you're in Mammoth Hot Springs, they have like a basketball court, a gym, a stage, and the stage sounds weird, but like there's like a piano behind. Like I play the piano, and so it was really fun to me to like mess around on the piano. Plus, if you wanted to actually like work out, there was a good gym. In Canyon Village, they had a really good employee pub. They also had a gym, but it was pretty small, like just, you know, some basic like weightlifting and stuff along those lines, which could get you through the season for sure. And they also had ping pong tables. Old Faithful also has a basketball court and a gym and an employee pub. So pretty standard. Canyon Village, to my knowledge, and Lake Lodge are like two, and what is it called? Grant Village. They don't have basketball courts or anything like that. Lake Lodge also had a pub, and the best thing about the Lake Lodge pub was that they served like full-size pizzas. So if we wanted like a pizza, we would go to Lake Lodge pub and get one of those. And if you guys are curious, the employee pubs are just for the employees. You do have to have your Xanterra ID to be able to like go in, although obviously eventually they'll know you work there. But if you're just visiting the park, don't try to go to the employee pubs. Don't do it. I don't exactly know everything that goes on in Grant Village because like I mentioned earlier, I didn't really spend a ton of time there. So I can't vouch for any of their amenities. Same with Roosevelt, which is like the horse place. Like there's a lot of wranglers there. So just something to keep in mind. How long does it take to get to Bozeman? So from Canyon Village to Bozeman is about 2 hours. If you're driving from Mammoth Hot Springs to Bozeman, it's about an hour and a half. And then if you're driving from like Old Faithful to Bozeman, it's also about 2 hours. Anywhere further out than Canyon and Old Faithful, it's going to be a really long drive, and you should probably just go to Cody, Wyoming, which is about 2 hours. Obviously, travel times are going to vary depending on like if you get stuck in a bison jam or there's a bear and everyone's stopped on the road and you can't drive around them. So those are things to keep in mind when you're driving. 2 hours is like the estimated time, but I've had it take me like 3.5 to 5. So it really just depends on what kind of wildlife is in the park that day. When does it start to snow up there? And when does the snow end? So I was in Yellowstone in October, and it did snow the first week of October, but just lightly, nothing that was gonna like impact the roads. We were driving like a Toyota Camry, and we could get around the roads without snow tires or anything along those lines. So that's around where it begins snowing. When it ends snowing is like May. So we went up in May of 2018, so last year, and there was snow on the ground, but it wasn't actively snowing. And every weekend that we went up after that, it wasn't snowing any longer. So between October and May is when it's going to snow, and they do generally shut down the roads. You can only get to and from like Old Faithful and Mammoth via snowmobile. And that's like when the winter season begins. So if you're applying for that season, they will be in communication with you on how you get into the park, because I'm not entirely sure about that portion of it. As for summer though, you're good. It's not going to snow on you. Then again, it is like weird Pacific Northwest weather, so it might like snow a day or two in September, but nothing that's going to like be detrimental to you or your car. Are the dorms, what is happening? Okay, are the dorms close to each other? So the dorms are close to each other. They're always within walking distance, and they're also within walking distance from where you're going to be working. How was navigating the park? I will put a map of Yellowstone right here. It's literally a big circle. There's like the upper circle and the lower circle. And it's very easy. What they give you a map when you start working there, and if you make a wrong turn, you're just going a different way on the circle. You can just turn around and go the other way. It's very, very simple. Do you get any free tours as an employee? So you don't get any free tours, but you can get discounts on tours. My friends and I did the riding horses in where like the Canyon Hotel used to be, and we got it at a super discounted rate, which was awesome because like we didn't want to pay full price what all the other tourists that were paying, because we like lived there. We weren't actually tourists. So Xanterra, if you go to like the place where people go to like sign up for things, there's like a registration building or like customer service type deal. You can ask them what kind of discounts you can get and they'll let you know. Will they make your roommate a similar age to you? Yes, they do their best to match you with a roommate. My roommate and I were like a year apart in age, and we had very similar interests and like very similar personalities. So when you get there, if you get there later in the season and there are already people established in dorms, the people that are in charge of that will put you with who they think is best. If you're an older person, generally they will put you with another older person, and also in a separate dorm, like a quiet dorm. That way you aren't with all the children that are disturbing you at all times. And by children, I mean anywhere from like 18 to 30, because those kids can party. So if you're an older person and you're worried about going to Yellowstone, and you're like, yo, am I gonna sleep? Am I going to be able to like hang out with the person my roommate is? You should be able to, and they're generally really awesome about giving you a similar aged roommate. How does it work when you come with multiple friends? So when you come with friends, they'll ask you on your application, are you applying with any others? If so, what are their names and like birthdays, I think, so they make sure like that is the person. And how it works is they will let you guys dorm together. If you come with like a group of 4, I believe they only allow 2 people in the dorms standard, like as long as you're not in Mammoth Hot Springs. I was in a dorm when I was in Mammoth that had 3 people in it. But they'll let you all your people like room together, and then you guys probably won't necessarily get like the same schedule, but if you're all working different jobs, you can ask for the same weekend. And I've mentioned weekends in my other videos, the 2-day like plot of time where you like have to not work. They're really good about placing you and your friends working in the same place. They're not gonna put one of you guys on one side of the park and the other one on the other side of the park, so don't worry. Same goes if you're coming with your significant other. They actually have like significant other rooms where you get like, I think, a full-sized bed. So then you guys can like sleep in the same bed together, and then you can come to Yellowstone together and like have each other there. So I think that is it for today's question and answer video. If you guys have any questions that I didn't answer in this video, feel free to like drop them below, or you can message me on my Instagram, which is @casuallycarolyn. If you guys are getting geared up to apply and you have questions about like resume stuff or anything like that, let me know. Pretty good at all that jazz. Not that I'm bragging, but you guys know what I mean. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to, feel free to subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up if it answered some of the questions that you had. Give it a thumbs up if I mentioned one of your questions in the video, because I don't want to like call out people when they message me on Instagram, because like, yo, that's private. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will see y'all in my next video. Bye.